L'ouvrage de la post-colonie à la mondialisation néolibérale.
From post-colony to neoliberal globalisation. This book looks at the contemporary African crisis to establish a convincing etiology about it, before implementing strategies to solve a protean and multi-dimensional crisis, paralysing post-colonial African societies by also affecting African diasporas in the Western world. I define myself as a philosopher, sociologist and theologian. I completed a PhD in philosophy on phenomenology and then a degree in further studies in theology. A big part of my time is focused on leading a multidisciplinary research centre on communities in sub-Saharan Africa and diasporas. As intellectuals and writers, we are interested in African issues, especially the ones related to the post-colony, so that whilst we live in diasporas, we still contribute to the reconstruction of Africa. We tried to develop a system to understand post-colony, so interdependence in Africa. It led us to work on popular perceptions of the African crisis that can be quickly developed in three failures: failure of the post-colony, failure of globalisation, and emergence of a certain religious pathology in African capitals. In Dakar, Yaoundé, Kinshasa, populations find refuge in religiousness, like the opium of the people, to forget, to escape their situation that is miserable for most of them.
Il aura été question d'analyser sous un angle différent.
The point was to analyse the cooperation between China and Africa from a different angle, in order to highlight some African prospects that re-establish the responsibility of the continent's regimes. It can be established by assessing the role and action of these regimes not like simple objects of the Chinese strategy, but indeed like entities refusing or failing to define a strategy that could lead to a positive dynamic in the Africa-China relationship.
Dans le rapport de l'Afrique vis-à-vis de la Chine.
We need to move on from China-Africa to Africa-China, meaning giving the priority and the initiative to Africans who will negotiate with Chinese like rational actors, aware of the issues. It's necessary to have a global vision of Africa, because it's about rebuilding Africa, taking back the initiative, being responsible and accountable citizens before history and the world. We need to articulate the intellectual, political, ethical and social dimension to promote new institutions. Do we have to kill each other to keep obsolete institutions which really showed their decline and their inability to meet Africa's needs? Mali is part of a violated and mutilated Africa, like a woman whose slit open guts offer oil, uranium, natural gas, coltan, gold to predators. Beyond the metaphor, African women pay a heavy price, directly or indirectly, for the cynical order of the world. Aminata Traoré.